Let's talk about other pharmaceutical companies. Let's talk about Pfizer today.
Must we? Okay.
Yes,
New
we must.
reports leaked that Pfizer has made some very questionable agreements with certain governments as it distributes its COVID vaccine. Specifically, they had made agreements about non-disclosures that are interesting. There were some agreements about distribution around various wealthy countries that were interesting. What else?
Well, also that sales for Pfizer could double in 2022.
Yes.
Okay. So again, all of these contracts, I read through one of these contracts. It was like 200 pages long. David, I don't know. I think I sent it to you like a few months ago. Did you happen to read that Pfizer contract? You go through it with the government and you realize unbelievable how much they basically stretch these governments. Let me just say this. If you and I were to have a negotiation with somebody.
Yes.
And like one side of this contract was like literally being walked on is what this is. The governments just get walked on in these contracts.
Yes.
And Pfizer gets everything they
want. To silence, right to decide who donates what, right? So you can't just go donating your vaccines to a country that might need it if Pfizer has the opportunity to price gouge said country, right?
Like they can make money. They can make money off of here's a country like Sudan which doesn't even have like clean drinking water.
You cannot donate there unless they decide, because if there's an opportunity for them to price gauge Sudan, they're going to take it. They secured the IP waiver. Now, you may remember that people were pushing the government to open the patent for the COVID vaccine so that any pharmaceutical company could make them, so that it would open access to anywhere around the world. Anywhere there's a pharmaceutical factory, that vaccine could be made. Pfizer is saying they strung our governments into saying no. So even when Joe Biden has said we are considering this, but it seems that he cannot. Did he not know that? Or did he just say that because it sounded like a fun thing to say?
I mean, yeah, it's like, well, we're going to do this. And meanwhile,
we're considering it, right?
We're considering it. But when actually you look at the contract, no, you're not allowed to.
You'll be doing no such thing, Joe Biden. So don't pay that any lip service.
I mean, it's amazing. Public Citizen found these contracts, like including not only secrecy, but also language to block donations of Pfizer doses. Disputes are settled in secret arbitration meetings. So you can't even go public court with this. Like if you have an issue, you got to go into arbitration. Pfizer is able to change the terms of key decisions at any time. By the way, that was a big red thing. By the way, appropriately, I read this Pfizer contract while I was on the toilet.
Okay.
Seems right.
I didn't need to know that.
No, and I was going through it, and I was sitting there, and I was just like, I'm just kept going. I couldn't believe it. I should have used it as it was the perfect place for me to have read it because it was total garbage. I just felt like Americans are just walked on by these pharmaceutical companies, like delivery dates, like the company's like, hey, you're going to pay us all this money, and we have the choice basically to never deliver a vaccine to you.
Yes.
You're going to pay us all this money, and in our contract, we don't have to ever do anything.
Which is what, I'm thinking back to right before the vaccine got approval for not emergency use, but for emergency use. Yes. When the vaccines were approved for emergency use, there was all of this, media around how like the National Guard is ready to deliver these vaccines. It's the highest security. It's, this was when Trump was still president. And we've been like ready to launch, and it was militarized, right? Mm-hmm. As if the United States was really like the one in charge. And I realize now that was propaganda made to make us think that our government was ready to protect us with these vaccines and roll it out. But really, they didn't have the power to do this. They had some power to distribute. And it was just, they were a supply chain, right? But not decision makers, really.
Right.
Sharon, they're going to hear an echo when I talk. But did you get that video I sent you yesterday with the Pfizer?
Yeah, I did. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, though. We don't hear an echo. I don't hear an echo.
I don't hear an echo either.
People are saying, oh, David's quiet. But we were having this whole audio issue, and David thought when he came in and we were getting a mix minus double audio thing here. But
you may speak.
They'll hear it.
Oh, okay.
Do you think they'll hear it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Becky hears it. Oh, okay. So I didn't watch this yet, but that was
You should, because that would play into the story right now. You should play it.
Oh, I don't have it to play. Shoot.
Oh. Okay.
I don't have it handy to stick in the rundown. Damn it.
Do you want to give
I know
us
what you're talking about. I know what you're talking
synopsis? Bring us into this inside.
No. I know exactly what he's talking about.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant it was like an interview. I'm sorry. Yes, it was actually the next thing on my rundown. So, and we kind of teased it at the beginning of the show, is that if you watch mainstream media television at any point in your day, God forbid if you do, but if you do, you flip on your CNNs, your Foxes, your whatever, you're going to often see a flip on broadcast television, right? Like Good Morning America, any of these things. You're going to see the pharmaceutical companies throwing so much money at these mainstream media companies so that they can advertise. When you watch these commercial breaks, they're always drugs, aren't they? They're always drug companies advertising. They know that audience. And so someone put together this montage of just how much money Pfizer spends on mainstream media, and wonder why we don't hear dissenting voices in the mainstream media about Pfizer and any of these vaccines. It's remarkable. I wonder why. Just follow the money. Watch this. This is a montage of Pfizer ads on television.
Good Morning America is brought to you by Pfizer.
CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer.
Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on ERIN BURNETT Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
This weather report brought to you by Pfizer.
Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet the Press Data Download brought to you by Pfizer.
This portion of CBS This Morning sponsored by Pfizer. On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Interesting. So when Pfizer comes knock into our show, we're going to tell them to hit the hay.
No way. Someone, by the way, says, Sweet Vintage TV says, I think Clayton's microphone needs a blue chew, by the way. Yeah, I got to tighten this thing. It keeps going limp on me. I need a blue chew. Blue chew and my microphone.
Oh, for goodness
But isn't that crazy? I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't think that it's crazy, because that's how these television stations are on the air. I mean, that's how they're making their money, right? That's how all of those, that's why you don't see these dissenting voices. That's why everything you see on these mainstream media stations is all just like gobbledygook. It's all just like regurgitated corporate talking points, isn't it?
Right. And I mean, you and I worked in the news for several years in New York City, so we know how these segments are produced. And it's like someone has, there's a senior producer, or an executive producer, and they have an idea of what the overarching theme of the show will be, and they greenlight segment, yes. And then that goes down to a senior, and that goes down to a different producer, a segment producer. And the segment producer has in mind already the talking points that they want someone to say.
Right.
And then they call up a list of their blue book, someone from their blue book who will in fact say those things, right? And they sort of fit those things in. And you and I have gone through these segments before with producers who are like, well, this, and they're like, but really this, right? We want you to say this.
Right.
This is just how it works. They already have an agenda and that's why every now and again you'll get someone who will like go off script and that video goes viral, because you can tell the news anchor's like, you're saying that.
Right.
But wow. I thought you were going to say something else.
This wasn't in our notes.
This is how it works.
You're going to say that on television? No, you can't say that.
And so there absolutely is a way that these segments are produced with an overarching thing. No senior, no executive producer is going to greenlight a segment about how Pfizer is dirty. One, because there's an agenda to, push for vaccinations for a reason, right? And anybody who wants to speak out in it's gotten to the point where you can't say anything reasonable that would indicate some reason for hesitancy about a vaccine, period. It just won't make it to the show.
Right.
It won't be greenlit. It won't be put in. And then if anybody says something like that on the air for television stations who follow this agenda, right? There are other stations who are very anti-vaccine, and they're going to get people to say something. Their blue book looks different. They won't get put on the air, or they'll get pulled off the air. It's just, this is how it works.
Yeah, it's really, really sad. So, hey, this segment is not brought to you by Pfizer. This segment was brought to you by Clayton and Natalie on our anniversary day. So let me know your thoughts on that.
You're really milking this anniversary day.
I'm happy about it.
That's nice, honey.
I'm happy about it.
He treats it like a real holiday.
It is. It's like, when do I get the presents?
Presents. We're going out for dinner. We get a babysitter.
That's right. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. You can also become a channel member by going to morninginvest.com/join, where you can stick it to the mainstream media and support independent journalism. We're able to bring you the stories that you won't see on any of the major billionaire-backed networks. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time, everyone.